The United States is considering the possibility that someone could overthrow Russian dictator Vladimir Putin and replace him. However, this option is being considered realistically. No one is planning this, but if some force arises within the aggressor country, Russia, that tries to overthrow Putin, the United States will support this force. The shortest way to stop everything would be to replace Putin with someone else. This opinion was expressed by political philosopher, lecturer at Charles University in Prague, head of the Institute of Free Russia, Alexander Morozov, in an interview with Glavred. Of course, it is being considered, the scenario that someone could replace Putin, but it is being considered realistically, that is, no one ever plans such a thing. It's like with the so-called orange revolutions. In reality, no one plans them, but if suddenly the population comes out and protests, and it is clearly visible that half of the parliament is against it, then, of course, everyone supports the half of the parliament that is in favor of democracy, Morozov noted. He stressed that the United States will support forces that will try to overthrow Putin if such forces ever emerge in the Russian Federation. Here is the same situation. I have no doubt that everyone is ready for the fact that if suddenly a situation arises in the Russian Federation in which some healthy forces emerge that are going to stop this whole bloody holiday that Putin has unleashed, then they, of course, will be immediately supported. There is no doubt that everyone is looking, both European countries and Washington, and who in Russia at all then could form such an alliance to stop the slaughter, said the political philosopher. However, according to him, Trump is not the person who counts on democracy in Russia. He is a Republican, and it is clear that he does not care at all what kind of regimes there are in which countries, whether there is democracy there or not, whether they adhere to parliamentary norms there or not. The shortest way to stop everything would be to replace Putin with anyone else, with Mishustin, Sobyanin. It doesn't matter, but simply with a person who will strive to minimize the consequences of this war, including for the Russian Federation. But so far as we can see, there is not much hope for this. Morozov noted. Earlier, Glavred reported that Trump sent a signal. The National Security and Defense Council made a statement regarding the end date of the war. Donald Trump sent a communication signal to the countries outlining a certain course regarding negotiations and consequences for Russia, Kovalenko noted. Earlier, the US Secretary of State also made a statement about the end of the war. Marco Rubio said that neither Ukraine nor Russia will be able to achieve their maximalist goals.
North Korea sent its best troops to help Russia in the war against Ukraine. But after months of heavy losses, they were withdrawn from the front lines. According to the New York Times, citing Ukrainian and American officials, North Korean soldiers have not appeared on the front lines for about 2 weeks. According to the Commander-in-Chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, Oleksandr Syrsky, the number of North Korean troops has been cut in half in just 3 months. Ukrainian fighters who fought against the North Koreans describe them as fierce warriors. However, disorganization in their ranks and lack of coordination with Russian units quickly led to increased losses. From the moment they arrived on the battlefield, North Korean soldiers were left to their own devices, advancing with little armor and rarely stopping to regroup or retreat, Ukrainian officials and troops said, the NYT reports. At the same time, American officials said the decision to withdraw North Korean troops from the front line may not be permanent. They said it was possible that the North Koreans might return after receiving additional training or after the Russians came up with new ways to deploy them to avoid such heavy losses. As the publication notes, Kim Jong-un most likely has his own motives for helping Russia in Kursk. According to American officials, he hopes that Putin will repay him in the future by providing assistance in implementing North Korea's missile programs and diplomatic support at the UN. Earlier, some Western media reported that North Korea could send additional forces to support Russia. It is noted that this could happen against the backdrop of large losses of North Korean troops in the Kursk region. It was also reported that North Korea plans to transfer more than 100 artillery systems to Russia for use on the front. These systems were originally created to destroy South Korean troops.